What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of Career Mode. This is episode number 15. Now we're starting today's stuff as we officially end season 1 and look what happened in the World Cup in the summer and not the winter in the game in Qatar 2023 as we're running through the groups and also the knockout stages as well. It's always interesting running through the groups. You can see a couple of teams that didn't make it out, France and also Argentina failing to qualify from the group stages in this World Cup. England were knocked out by Germany in the last 16, and in the end after Czech Republic got to the semis but were knocked out by Italy. The Italians were indeed the World Cup winners. So what a couple of years for Mancini in Italy. Talk about redemption. A few years ago failing to qualify, and now Euro and World Cup holders in the space of 2 years. That is a pretty impressive turnaround. So, as we officially end Season 1 and Season 2 begins today, we've got a quadruple upload weekend. No like target, but a like is always very much appreciated. We begin Season 2 at the Community Stadium, and as you can see from the chairman, after a successful first season in the top flight, avoiding the drop and reaching 2 cut quarterfinals, the board looking forward to seeing how you can build on that for our second year together. There's good youngsters coming through and a modest transfer budget provided. I thought that was relatively ambiguous hearing that. Hopefully we can improve and take the next step with Brentford. Well, for the new season, the transfer budget, the first thing you check every single new season, modest is probably the right word to use. We got around 25 to 30 million pounds for season 2 in the Premier League. With wage budget alteration, you're probably looking at around 29 to 29.5 million. And I gotta be honest, in today's footballing world, that's not a lot. So unsurprisingly for our transfer policy given to us from the board this year, spend wisely once again, stretch the pennies and look for bargain buys. We're also lacking experience here, only one player in the 30s, that's Pontus Jansson, so bring in a couple of dressing room leaders to steady the ship. And also sell some of our deadwood, definitely agree with that one there. There are a few players in our reserves right now that just barely played last season, don't have much potential or upside, so the best thing to do is sell them, get their salaries off the books and a minor transfer fee as well. So this season the board say finish mid-table and reach the last 16 of the FA Cup, and there's absolutely no reason we can't do that. Last year we finished in 14th place in the Premier League, of course survived with 2 games to go. As we know, in the FA Cup reached the quarterfinals as well, and as for the newly promoted teams this year, it is the same bottom 3 that went down a couple of years ago. Fulham, Sheffield United and West Bromwich Albion all making immediate returns to the Premier League. And so for our on-the-pitch objectives, last year we had the worst record for goals. Let's change that, shall we? Let's score some more goals this year. Also tighten up at the back. We conceded more goals than most teams last year. I think it was a joint third worst defensive record. But above all, just like last season, whilst our goal difference was the worst in the league last year, we had the lowest goal scoring record. We had one of the worst defensive records. At the end of the day, football is still a results business, so avoid the bottom 3, avoid the second season syndrome that so many clubs fall guilty of. Make sure this year we're clear of the drop once again. So yeah, going to the new season with this Brentford team, I've got to be honest, we're getting around 29 to 29.5 mil to work with here. I don't really know what to do. I'll be totally honest. I really don't know what to do because it's not like we've got a massive monster transfer budget where we can bring in some really class first team quality players or one star player to hopefully help us take the next level. As Sean Pratt has had a potential downgrade. Howie had potential to be special last year. Was so good when coming in. Why have you downgraded this potential so much? But it's also not like we've got like a low transfer budget of like 10 million where we can't do anything whatsoever. It's a bit of an interesting position to be in. 30 mil is not a lot, but it is something. So the question is, do we bring in like 1 or 2 decent, half decent players, maybe 1 for the first 11 and 1 for the bench? Do we look to add some squad depth to this team? Because we've got a lot of quantity, but not a lot of quality. Do we bolster our bench and also the reserves as well? Do we look for established players? Do we make gambles? Do we just sign youngsters with potential? What do we do this year? I really don't know. Well, one thing we do need to do is sort this out. Look at the amount of players with just 1 year left in their deal heading into this season. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 players, I think it is, with their deals up come the end of the year. But I'm not just going to give contracts out like lucky bags. Absolutely not. No, I've only given 2 contracts to two of our starting 11. David Raya, who was phenomenal last year, really great between the sticks for us. We might have had one of the worst defensive records in the division, but it wasn't because of him. And also Rico Henry as well, 24 years old, 77 rated. The future's very bright for him. We're keeping him here as well. The rest of which, however, are either going on the transfer list, and as you'll see, there's a lot of names on the transfer list this year. Lots of change going to happen at the community stadium, or they'll have to play for a new contract. But speaking of contracts and youth players in particular, as for our youth academy objectives this year, we're going to keep one scout in England looking for London talents as always. Once again, the board say 3 teenagers signing pro deals just like last season and this year as well. Stay close to the country as well. Don't go too far afield and look for some British and Irish talents this year with Brentford. So as we look at the players on my transfer shortlist, players to buy, well, what was the first objective the board said to us in our transfer policy? Stretch the pennies. Look for bargain buys. I had a few players on the shortlist from clubs that were relegated last year in Watford, Norwich, and also Burnley as well. And one player that was released from Watford last year became a free agent. And as soon as I saw him available, I was like, right, I'm snapping this guy up. Yes, our first signing of season 2, and it is indeed the definition of a bargain buy. Juan Cucho Hernandez, as he's known, 77 rated striker that can also play on the flanks. High medium work rates, 3-star skill moves, 4-star weak foot. As we know, very quick indeed with a good finish on him, great attacking positioning, and again, at just 23 as well, still has room to get better. That is the bargain buy we were looking for. That's what the board were after. That's what we got. Our first signing, Juan Hernandez, in from Watford, released by the Hornets. We snap him up on a free transfer. That is the definition of a bargain. So buzzing about that. We also bid for Ethan Pinnock as well. Aston Villa, hoping he'll become the next Esri Konsa, taking him from Brentford to Villa Park. But of course, we said no. He's only 29 years old now, Ethan Pinnock, but I like him. I thought last year was pretty decent for us. And again, it's a great success story, you know, going from Dulwich Hamlet to the Premier League. I really love that. So yeah, Pinnock is staying here, as is Rico Henry, bid from Lyon, but of course he just signed a 4-year contract extension, so highly unlikely to leave on the back of that. And also bids for Godos as well, which I accepted. And also Sergi Canos as well. Patrick Vieira put a bid in for our, versatile player, let's just say that, the Spaniard who now plays wing-back in this Brentford team. We asked for 4.25 though, and Patrick Vieira said they would accept that. Canos last year, of course, lost his place in the first 11 to the new signing Ryan Niambe. As we know, we've got some very decent young players coming through the academy in the wing-back roles as well. So Canos, to me, I'm totally fine letting him go for 4.25 million. Same with Sorensen as well. He is the Danish centre-half. He's only 23 or possibly 24 years old as well. So a very young centre-back. Well, you know, young in my opinion. But even so, just 70 overall. I don't think he's going to get too much better. And we've got an abundance of centre-halves here as well. So I'm totally fine letting him go. £2 million, we accepted 2 bids. One from Utrecht. And was it Utrecht? I think it was Utrecht. And the other one as well as Canos does go here to Selhurst Park. The other one was from Rayo Vallecano as well. So I'm totally fine letting him go as he's in the final year of his contract. As is this man, Patrick Gunnarsson, the young 21 Icelandic goalkeeper. I'm okay letting him go. 66 overall. We got the youngster Win out of the academy. He's got more potential. He's only a few ratings lower. Sorensen goes here to Spain, so I'm totally fine letting him go as well. So yeah, 3 quick sales there. Canos, Gunnarsson, and also Sorensen as well. So on the back of selling one of our young goalkeepers, I decided to replace him with another player on the free agents list. This is why you check the free agents pool year after year. Sometimes you'll get some bargains, like in the case of Hernandez. In this case here, we're getting one of those dressing room leaders that the board wanted. Yes, Alex McCarthy, who's been around the block, the former Royal, who also had a very, and when I say very, I mean very brief loan spell with Brentford a long time ago. Released by the Saints in the summer, we snap him up. Dressing room leader, very inexperienced, capped by England one time as well, and only 2 ratings lower than David Raya. We didn't really have a decent backup goalkeeper last year after Alvaro's loan deal expired. Now we've got one in Alex McCarthy. 2-year signing as a backup goalkeeper for Raya and as a stand-in. Very happy with that indeed. Another free agent buy as well, as I was really stretching those pennies like the board requested. Fagan Walker, released by Spurs in the summer. 20 years old, so very young indeed. Might only be 64 overall, but already 80 jumping and 80 strength as well at 6'1". He's got the showing great potential tag as well, so we're bringing him to the community stadium and we'll keep a close eye on his career as he develops. And another free agent buy as well, as they continued here. Had to bring this guy in when my scout found him in the free agents pool. Daniel Lucas, the former Celta Vigo and Valencia right back, released from the Mestalla in the summer. He's 33 years old, yes, but he will be a dressing room leader, and I really like it as well, with him being a Danish player and Brentford having so many young Danish talents here, to mentor some of the young Danish talent we got, especially the lads in the academy as well. I'm really happy with this. As we know, Daniel is like a jack of all trades. This guy can literally do anything. He is Mr. Versatile. He's got the solid player trait as well. He's got some fantastic hair, if I don't say so myself. And again, he might be 33 years old, due to decline quite quickly, but he's 80 overall, so he's more than good enough to still do a job in our first 11 or bench. And I got to say, as a leader, as an experienced Danish international, lots of caps for his country, I'm very happy with him coming as a mentor on a free transfer. I was going to bring back James Tarkowski as well and spend the bulk of my budget on him. We do want to tighten the ship this year with Brentford after conceding so many goals last year. And of course, Tarkowski, as we know, came from Brentford. I was thinking about bringing him back to the community stadium when I saw that Juventus were interested and were going to put a bid in. I was like, Juventus or a return to Brentford? I'm sure Tarkowski still has a very soft spot for his former team, but let's be honest here, I think he's probably going to choose the old lady. So for realism, I was okay letting him choose the club of higher stature. And also, there was a bit of a Pontus Jansson. I'll be honest here, I was really considering accepting this. Ajax put in an evaluation deal of 3.3 mil. Last season, when Sean Pratt came out of the academy, the captain was taking a back seat so he could use the youngster more often. But then I thought, he is club captain. Do I really want to sell him and have a major change in Season 2? Change the captain as well as quite a lot of the squad? Not entirely sure. I think I'll keep him for at least one more year, as he still has 2 years left on his contract. But our final signing, fifth and final signing of today's episode to kickstart Season 2, was this guy, and definitely the most exciting of the lot. Gutierrez. Yes, this is a young Uruguayan striker who really excites me. Just like Juan Hernandez, a bargain buy forward. He's only 19 years old, 76 overall. He's got the showing great potential tag, and Roberto is a physical monster with some great technicals already. Get that attacking work rate up to high, improve some of the other stats as well, and including the skill moves and weak, I'd like to increase too. And this guy could prove to be an absolute steal for the future. Very excited about him indeed. He'll go onto the bench with Cucho and Tony starting together up top this season, but I've got to be honest here, he looks like a very exciting youth player indeed. We also loaned out Pert Harris. He's going to Norwich on a 2-year loan deal. Totally fine with that. He does have some potential, but last season we barely got to use him. So hopefully with 2 years with Daniel Farker at Carrow Road, they got a great history of developing young talent. Hopefully he'll do very well there with the Canaries. And our final bit of involvement to kickstart the new season off, with a month to go until the transfer window shuts and 2 weeks before the season starts with West Brom at home. We see this bid for Brian Mbuemo. I considered it. It was by Leverkusen. Not a bad offer. Low productivity last year, but I still believe in the young French forward. He's playing in a new position. He's got a lot to learn. I'm sure he'll do better this year. But that will end today's episode of Career Mode, guys. A massive thank you for watching the season opener. Hope you have enjoyed it. And if you have, then please drop a like. Don't forget, 4 episodes coming your way this weekend, so please do drop a like if you can. And in the next episode, we'll play the first game of the season against newly promoted West Brom at home. And with 30 million still remaining in the budget, there's plenty more transfers to come.